All right, finals tonight. Who's happy? Who's coming with me on this happy train? Anyway, as we're over here taking off, listen, I was like, we only got like a subset amount of players that really is vital to this situation. And me being the person that's over here, that's just be like, hey, everybody loves to count down and then do numbers. Why don't we give them a list? And that's what I'm going to do from 10 to 1 of who is important for this series. Now, I'm going to start at number 10. Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, like I said in my other video, he didn't really play last series that much, but he played pretty good in the series before that. Now, I think in a series like this where there's more people that have fire, I would like the Boston Celtics got 4 people to 5 to even 6 that can give you firepower, that you need somebody else to give you something, relieve you of something. And while he hasn't been, he is still a threat. He is still someone necessarily to be respected at the 3-point line. He is somebody that if he heats up, he could be a problem. But if he's also cold, he just sort of out there. Now, like I said, he gives you 3-point shooting. I was like, he's not terrible. He's all right on defense, so it's not like it'll be. I was like, hell, I was like, they had him in a couple lineups where on a defensive lineup at the end of the game. Not this series, but past series in Oklahoma. So I was like, he's a all right defender. I was like, that's how you got to sort of look at some of these the teams are. They got really great ones, and you play good. But no, he has to come up with something, especially just because there's really nobody else. I was like, Hardy could have made a list here, but I was like, he even though he played in Minnesota, he hadn't been as consistent as getting minutes. So to me, it got to be Tim Hardaway. So number 9, I'm gonna go with Derek White. Actually, I was like, I know maybe some of y'all would think he's higher. I think that his his offensive scoring has been good, but also inconsistent at times. Because I was like, he had that wicked first round, and then after that, he just been all right. But he also gives you valuable stuff on defense. He also runs the team. So I was like, it's not like he doesn't give you anything. I was like, he doesn't have to give you points because of the rest of the team. But I think that in this particular series, that while he will probably be matched up against Kyrie at times and stuff like that, I don't think that he's going to be used as the primary defender, as like somebody else, the other one's higher on the list. But he is somebody that can, if he gets hot, he become one of the other with the other ones in scoring. But if not, he always is in the right spot, always doing the right play. He gets the offensive going, a lot better. He starts out a lot of hope things. I was like, he just like Drew, he sort of is intangible in a lot of places. But I think that you can sort of get by with him in some cases if he don't have a great scoring output, or it's a little lap over here, something like that. In some instances compared to the rest of the people. With that, I was like number 8. To me, it's Al Horford, and the reason that is because he has to play good enough to not get played off the floor. Now I was like he's going to have his chances because Lively and Gafford aren't shooting big men or nothing like that, so he's not going to be taken advantage of in that regard. I was like, don't get me wrong, they will probably out rebound him a little bit, but Al Horford being a vet in the game, he knows where to get his body position. But at the same time, especially if there's no KP, then he needs to be on the floor. He needs to also be a scoring threat, and he got to do a lot more, be more involved in all that. But they're going to take advantage of him on the pick and roll a lot of time. So, but if he's able to give you something scoring, because we've seen it where he's there, and then sometimes, hey, he's got to be the big body out there. If he's able to give you something to where he can impact taking Gafford and Lively out several times, then he'll do his end of the job. If not, and you're sort of like, whatever, I'll just sag off him a bit, then now he becomes a detriment if he's not getting boards and stuff like that and competing with the big men. Um, yeah, so number 7 to me is PJ Washington. I was like, great in the Oklahoma City Thunder matchup. Didn't really shoot as well here in Minnesota. Made timely baskets, but wasn't there the same way. I was like, we see more of his game evolved here of like taking stuff people off the dribble, going to the basket, but he missing those in Minnesota. That could just be because of the height of everybody compared to with Boston. You're not going to really get that. All those people are around your same size. So I was like, he'll have he won't. I was like, he'll have the size advantage being like a bigger body compared to them. But he's going to have to give, like how I was talking about Tim Hardaway. He's also the other guy that's key to basically keeping up with the firepower of the team. He has scored. He's the only other one that can get his shot through threes or off the dribble. He's going to be needed. I was like, he's been playing really well on defense, so you don't really have to worry about that. He'll be good on the switches because he can stay on the perimeter guys. He's the same height. He's a big body, so he's not going to be moved as well. You've seen him I know it ain't the same thing, but him slowing, him not giving any way to Rudy or Cat or nothing like that. Take it with how you want to about hearing about them too. But no, he's going to be a key component. And really, you'll see, really with this list, is really more offense than anything because they're both really two good defensive teams. But with our next one is Drew, but this time it's really because of defense more than offense. Because, yes, he'll score, but with White, you got to score. Brown, Tatum, you got to score. Kristoff and Al, we'll see how that goes. So you're not really looking at him. It's really the amount that he can try to get Luka off his game as much as he can. Cause I'm like, he pretty much to me is going to be one of the 2, I think, primary defenders on him. But how much are you going to be able to exert energy out of Luka? How much are you going to be able to make that a tougher shot than it needs to be? Are you going to be able to stop him from getting to his spots enough? You're not going to stop Luka, but what you want to do is just frustrate him. Sometimes we see how Luka can get if he ain't getting the calls and stuff. So can Drew muster up enough of that? If he gives you something else on offense, kudos, he's been better. That's even more in Boston's side of the whole thing that he's over here scoring like that. But if he can just take away enough of Luka, then I was like, then Boston can win. Because I was like, just enough of 6 possessions is enough to get the game going in Boston's way. And I was like, he might be on Kyrie at times too, or whatever like that. I don't think too much is because I was like Kyrie to me is more. I was like, he needs a little bit more of an athletic person on him. I was like, not that anybody else going to stop him either, but Brown or White seemed to be better for me for that one. Tatum, you just want to keep him out of getting fouls on these 2 dudes, so I wouldn't say that for the crunch time. With that one, I will go to, yes, I was like, the next 2 are gonna be combos, but it's gonna be Robin, sidekick, whatever you want to say, or Brown and Kyrie, just because they both have to be there just in case the top guy is not playing a good game. Just in case Luka's struggling, Kyrie got to be there to pick it up or keep the game close until Luka gets, at least maybe get timely bucket. Same thing with Brown, like we've seen where it's like he's hit timely shots or he's the one that was able to go out because they're putting all the defense on him, that he's got to be there just in case Tatum isn't ready Tatum ain't giving it all, or just there's just a close game where you just need some additional scoring, of course, because they're second guys. That's what they're here for. But it plays an important role because, and it's a little bit more so with Kyrie, but Brown is the same because the rest of the supporting cast, while they could score, Drew Holiday, Derek White, nobody's over here thinking like, oh man, they're gonna bust our ass. Whereas like Brown has that potential. He might have to. Like Drew or White might, be over here playing defense so much that Brown has to take an opportunity to get his shot off and stuff like that and score and do all that extra. Same thing with Kyrie, PJ and or anybody else on the other team ain't giving enough, Kyrie got to now be like, all right, cool, I got to give an extra amount instead of just doing the facilitating thing like he was with like Oklahoma City and stuff like that. Next one is Gafford and Lively. I was like, that'd be number 4, just because nobody is dominant on the amount of time they're on the court. It's really just the rhythm of play and foul trouble that they're in. But if you can get a combination from them two, neither one of them going to be like 20 or 20 or nothing like that. But if you can get from a combination of them like 21 and like 18, you can win. I was like, you can win and control most of this game because if there's no KP, Horford is going to have to man up against both of them. Even if there is a KP, the way he's hurt and all this other stuff, they're still like they're so athletic that that's going to be a battle in itself. Even though Porzingis is big enough to grab rebounds with them, but if they're able, because we've seen if their Dallas's big man is able to control rebounding, that's extra possessions for Kyrie and Luka. I was like, that's able to go out in transition and all. Like they control so much of the game that they could be a real signature factor in in pretty much this whole thing. Number 3, Tatum. Listen, if he ain't out here scoring as like good as I was like, I think him and Brown are really like this. So even as good as Brown is, if you're not getting something from Tatum, well, now you just got one star that's over here giving you a lot, and the other was not against. I was like 2 people that who knows if they're playing good, but if they're playing good, you in hella trouble. But Tatum has to basically play well here. I was like, that doesn't always mean he got to come out for 35 points. Sometimes it could just be him matching Luka, not necessarily with points, but just the intensity of playing or like, yeah, Luka might have hit that shot, but I got to stop over here. Like he needs to match Luka on which however he could sort of get it. That's what I'm saying. Because I was like, I'm not one of those people that is like, oh man, you only had 25, but if you had 25 at 15 rebounds or 9 assists or something like that, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You didn't go berserk with the numbers, but you helped out here. You was in the game, your energy and your pace. You got that tip ball and all the other stuff. You're not settling for a shot. You was getting them in foul trouble. That's to me what Tatum has to really do in order to. I mean, yes, he has to score one, especially if they're scoring like that. But he has to basically keep his energy and pace with everybody, with Luka in this situation. And at number 2 is Kristaps Porzingis. I think this goes from a game that Dallas is more favorable to Dallas to being a more even match game in that situation. Kristaps, to me, I was like, one, it will help alleviate Al Horford from trying to man up against those other 2 dudes. Not saying he can't, but there's a different dynamic than anybody else they done really played in the series. I was like, they're both 2 big dudes, athletic. I was like, they're very active. They're around. They can shot block, grab, rebound. And Horford also have to score too, where they don't have to score. That could be a lot more tiring. So at least he would give Al Horford a break. I was like, he's also tall enough to deal with their athleticism, even if he's probably not going to be 100%, just his length and his height and stuff like that. So that from itself is already just needed. But also the way he's going to be able to score, stretch, because I was like, Horford, while he'll make some threes, is not the same threat as Kristaps Porzingis, who also doesn't need to be on the 3-point line. Kristaps Porzingis, if he wanted to, could shoot from pretty much the logo if he wanted to. That's the threat he does, because he's not going to bring a big man out. He's going to bring him out to where you can't recover getting back to the basket. And that's a different dynamic, yet alone if he scored. But even if he doesn't score, you can't just leave him alone really either. So he changed the whole game and all that. And at number 1, of course, is Luka, mainly because differently than Tatum and everybody else, if he doesn't have a good game, unless Dallas is playing a hella amount of good-ass defense, I don't see how they can win. Luka has to play well here. He has to score. He's really their main scorer. because even if Kyrie's scoring, you still need Luka because there's just nobody else you can count on. And besides Luka getting people in foul trouble, controlling the pace of the game, um, I was like, maybe at time taking away, he might have Tatum matched up on him, so you getting him in the foul trouble, or either that or taking him out of play, taking his energy away because you got to defend me. So I was like, he basically, like how I was talking about the big men of Dallas, Luka's also the other one that really can control the pace and how this game plays and can get Boston all type of fish. We've seen how Indiana had made Boston play the way they want to. So guess what? With Dallas going to be somewhat the same way. Just because Boston, like even though they're adaptable, they don't really have their own way of playing. That's a deterrent, but also not a positive either. They're just really even kill with either one. But Luka to me, of course, main star has to play really well. But anyway, no remind 10, if I want to cheat, 12 people. That's important to this game. And we'll see how this game 1 goes. I said Dallas in 7. I don't know. Now I'm back to Boston. I don't know. But I think Boston gets the nice one. Anyway, see how the game goes. Peace. I'm out.